Okay. Global Business Part 4. In previous class, we have studied the classifications of FDI. So FDI was divided into several categories according to entity and durations of investment. Durations and the mode of investment. Investment mode. Okay. So we can divide the civil FDI, public FDI. Okay. Once classified by entity and by durations, it might be classified short and long term, right? This is general, long, and investment mode, vertical FDI, vertical, horizontal, and conglomerate. The conglomerate is the safe mode combined vertical and horizontal together. Okay, easily. And vertical also can divide the sub classifications, subdirectory, forward, backward. Okay, so this is general classification of FDI divided by entity, duration, or mode, investment mode, right? So the conglomerate, sorry, that's wrong spelling. The conglomerate, I told you, is the safe, is mode of FDI, vertical and horizontal combined. The vertical, if divided subcategory, forward, backward FDI. Forward FDI, backward FDI. Okay? Okay. We will see detail in next. Okay. First, okay, the vertical. Now, according to, I told you, according to entity, we have a, according to the entity, we have a civil investment, FDI, by entity, the civil and public. we divided into two. Okay, the CBIR, the entity between company, FDI by company. But public FDI by country. Countries. Okay, this is divided by entity. Okay, and then the purpose of this is the investment by company is done for the purpose of profit. Making profit is the aim of CBIR FDI, but in case of public, the property is promotion of national wealth. National wealth. National wealth. The purpose of public FDI is to pursue national wealth. This is quite contrast, right? And the characteristic, if we're looking into characteristic of these two FDI mode, in case of a severe investment, the characteristic, all materials, okay, all materials. They are seeking all materials, but in case of a public FDI, the characteristic is to pursue large investment and long time, and large investment, long time consuming FDI, so usually large investment. Okay. In case of severe FDI, all material. They don't care the scale and time. They try to cover all material, including if the job is belong to the company, they are willing to invest all materials. Okay, all materials are including. Okay, so this is the general classification and characteristic of civil and public FDI. Okay, according to entity. The entity by civil and the entity by public, they have a different characteristic. Okay, in case of public, it takes usually FDI takes longer time and larger investment than civil. Civil by company investment, they are targeting all materials they are handling. Okay, they are targeting all materials. Okay, then let's go then to the FDI divided by durations. Okay, this FDI is classified according to entity, but the next according to the FDI according to the, as I classified, FDI according to the durations. According to the durations. So we divided the short FDI and long FDI. The short and long in brief, but once FDI duration within 1 year, we call this is a short, but more than 1 year, we call this one long FDI, short FDI. So the guideline dividing these two classification is year. Okay, it's year. In case of long and short, either way, the investment should be included within period. In this case, short FDI, the result related investment should be within duration. Within duration. Understand? So in case of a short FDI, the investment within 1 year. Within 1 year. Okay? In this case, it takes less money and proceed with the financing at your own risk. In this case, in case of a short FDI, invest less money, but proceed with financing at your own risk. Okay, proceed financing at your own risk. Okay, proceed financing at your own risk. In this case, risk is relatively low, because this is not big pond, less money invested. So risk low. And investment result is also competent. Okay, but as you know, in this case, most of investment is done by single investment, not conglomerate, single investment usually. Low risk, the result is competent, but small investment in terms of financing, and usually in this case, this kind of FDI proceed financing at investors' own risk, okay? Not conglomerate, it's own risk, the investor own risk. So return is small return. Return small, in this case, usually. So the short FDI, I summarize this within a year. Okay, the investment should be within these durations of year, within year, low risk, and the result is very confident, but low return. Okay, so most of this kind of investment is a small and single investment. And then the risk at invest on risk. Okay. Contrary, long FDI, in this case, the FDI is extended rather than existing investment. Usually new investment. Rather than existing. Okay? Rather than existing. Usually new investment. New business. Usually investment in new business. Okay? And the scale is large scale, larger scale, then short term, larger scale, right? And strong public interest, strong public interest. So naturally, the need for fund is high, and the dependence on other fund must be high, such as participant is high, right? So the risk is relatively high. 그죠? The risk high, the scale high. In this case, the investment in new business rather than existing business. Okay? Larger scale of fund and strong public interest. This is comparison between short FDI and long FDI. And these two FDI is divided by durations. Okay? By durations, these two FDI is classified. Okay? So, we see the characteristic of each FDI, short FDI and long FDI. Okay, we have to compare these two FDI and should get the characteristic of these two different FDI comparison. Okay. In this case, because of the larger scale of funding, usually investment is done by joint venture. Okay, the fund from joint venture. Conglomerate. Okay. This is one characteristic of FDI, short FDI and long FDI divided by durations of investment. The guideline of these two distinguish as 1 year. Okay, the guideline of durations is 1 year. Okay, then this time we divide by investment mode. The meaning of mode is that whether investment is done by single investor or combined conglomerate. Okay, single investment or conglomerate. Okay, so by this mode we divide vertical FDI and horizontal FDI. Okay. The two different type FDI is classified according to investment mode. Okay. Vertical FDI, as the term saying vertical, we have a hierarchy, ranking between companies. Okay. Vertical like this. From bottom to up, we have a supply chain of material, supply, supplier, and here manufacturing. Here transportation and sales. Okay, if we see the directions of this process from bottom to up, manufacturing is in the center. Okay, but material supply is at the back of manufacturing and sales in front of manufacturing. Okay, like these directions, vertical FDI has a ranking between companies. Okay, instead, contrary, horizontal FDI is in the line of even. Okay, they are in the same even. FDI. As you can see here, these three FDI must be competitive. and the same industry, maybe same industry. Okay, they must be competitive. They are competitors in the same industry. In this case, we call this FDI in parallel as a horizontal FDI. Okay, horizontal FDI is a same competitor. It's the same. They are not vertical. Okay, they are not up and down. They are in same federal line. Maybe they must be competitor. But in vertical FDI, they have a linked already. They have a hierarchy from top to the bottom. Okay, so they have different level of companies combined together. In the center of manufacturing, backward, material supplier, forward, sales department and logistics, like that. Okay, this kind of FDI looks like hierarchy. Okay, but this kind of FDI, horizontal, they have even equivalent each other. So this kind of FDI we called horizontal. But this kind looks like hierarchy. We are saying vertical FDI. So we have to distinguish these two FDI. FDI vertical, FDI horizontal. Okay? So this is the concept of the FDI divided by joint. Okay? So in case of vertical FDI, they are aiming scale of economy. Okay? And classifications. So in this case, it happened when manufacturing need a sales department in local area. I mean, if the manufacturing located in certain area, a manufacturing facility in Korea, for instance, Korea, but their targeting market is, this is for example, in USA, and they need sales office or salesperson or sales corporations in local market, then they will invest. Okay? Contrary, if they need supplier subsidies of material in Australia, for example, for charcoal, okay, then they also jump into the Australia and purchase charcoal company over there. And this is also backward investment. Okay, and this is forward investment for their need. Okay, even in the middle, they located in the different country to gain sales corporations. They invest. In this case, we call this one as a forward investment. Contrary, once they need any company to supply their material, they purchase the company in their backward. So we call this kind of investment as backward investment. Okay, so it depends on. So this is forward and this is backward. This is forward and this is backward. Okay. Okay, then vertical investment. In this case, the reason why vertical investment is occur is number one, as protecting their technology, they can sustain their competitiveness. Okay? Like this, they purchase back and forward company for their lead in supply chain. The reason why they purchase this kind of FDI is to sustain competitiveness. To sustain competitiveness for a long time. Okay? This is main purpose. Okay? This is main reasons. Also, the number two reason, this is number one reasons. Number two reasons why they conglomerate this kind of vertical FDI. Number two is internalizations. The meaning of internalizations is make the company as their organizations, like subsidiaries. Okay? Why? Because the purchasing material out of their organizations cost more because of the lack of the bargaining power. Okay? In this case, for example, the manufacturing firm, for instance, need charcoal, okay, for chemical product here. But if this charcoal, the charcoal used as ingredient for chemical one, the supply of charcoal is out of organizations, sometimes they will increase the price. Then this increase will reflect on final product price. Then this company will lose their competitiveness. To prevent this and for stable supply of material, manufacturing merge material supplier, which is located at backward, okay, for stable supply with a stable pricing. Okay, this is the second purpose why vertical FDI occur in different industry. Okay, so I told you the reason why vertical FDI occur in the global market is number one reasons to sustain competitiveness for a long time. Okay. because they can protect their technology. Because they can protect their technology. Why they can protect by merging vertical FDI? Because if they merge or if they invest their own company, they can keep their technology from stealing by the other company. Okay, to prevent their technology from oozing, they make their own company, not sharing information, which is critical for the product with the other out organization. So this is main purpose to sustain competitiveness for a long time as they make their own company. They don't have to sharing information with another company out. Okay? And the second one is for the stable supply of a material with a stable pricing, they internalizations. Okay? They internalize the firm by establishing their own company, okay, by FDI. And third reason, number 3 reason is scale of economy. Scale of economy. The meaning of scale of economy is the bigger facility will reduce total cost. Reduce total cost. Reduce total cost. Because as the scale is larger, you can purchase larger volume purchasing. As you implement volume purchasing, your unit price will be lower than small purchasing. Okay? So, generally, the price of each by volume purchasing will be decreased. Then, the original price for the material of your total product will be reduced. Then, your price is flexibility. Your price might have flexibility and you can lower your pricing and higher competitiveness in the market. So you will beat your enemy. So number 3, the reasons why you go vertical FDI is the scale of economy. As you have a vertical economy, you will have a scale of economy and you can down total cost of your final product. Okay, that's one reason. That's one reason. You try to go vertical FDI. Okay, the vertical FDI again. If you review the vertical FDI is the investment, the backward to the backward industry and forward industry. Okay, usually backward industry in case of manufacturing center, it will be material supplier, and forward industry might be logistic and sales department. Different category industry, but as the manufacturing in the center, merging or investing these different level companies, they can aiming to sustain the competitiveness for a long time because they can prevent their technology and company secret from oozing to other company. Number two, they have a internalization effect. The meaning of internalization is to include their supply chain into their organizations. As this, the company can handle stable material supply with a stable pricing. And number three, aim of vertical is to reach scale of economy. The scale of economy means as you have the bigger scale of your business, you have to purchase volume. As you purchase volume, you will have lower cost per each price, each unit than small volume. Okay? So you will have lower cost and more competitiveness and flexibility for your pricing according to market situation. So you will have you will have competitiveness, okay, against your enemy. Okay, all of these aim of vertical FDI is to maintain competitiveness in the market. Okay, and for example, we have some example of vertical FDI for backward investment. Okay, multinational firms like Exxon, Shell, BP, their investment for oil company in Southeast Asia. Okay, so this is a good example. I'll change the screen and explain more regarding forward investment. And backward example of vertical FDA, the backward example. Mostly common example is motor industry part supply. Okay, motor industry part supply, right? In this case, backward motor industry part supply chain as an example of not back. Yeah, that was the backward, right? That was the backward, and then this one is also backward, and the forward example as the sales office, sales company. overseas. Okay, the sales company overseas investment as an example of backward, like Ford, GM, okay, Toyota. Like these companies, okay, sales companies in overseas. Manufacturing in Japan, in case of Toyota, sales firm in US, Mexico, Canada, like that. That is the example of a forward, okay? Here, the guideline divided forward and backward as manufacturing here. Manufacturing here, manufacturing in, for example, in Japan, the backward is a supply chain. Supply chain, example, the part supply chain. Okay, the meaning of part is a component, component. Component or equipment which compose of car, right? Compose of car, right? Okay, this one is called part, right? The part. Our car is composed of hundreds of parts, right? The part supply chain is backward because this is manufacturing here in the middle. Prior to manufacturing, assembling, this direction backward, this direction forward. Then after manufacturing and assembling product, the product should be sold at the local site, right? So there's market forward. Market forward. So this direction to market is a forward, and this one is a backward, right? So this is heading market. Heading market, right? We call this direction forward. This direction backward, right? Backward. Understand? Okay. This is backward and this is forward. Okay? From the center of manufacturing facility here. Manufacturing facility. The manufacturing facility is an assembling facility. Okay? So this is an example of a backward and a forward Fdi. Example of backward and forward Fdi. Okay? So now we studied, the vertical FTA, the meaning of vertical FTA, and example of vertical FTA. Okay, so now let's go to okay. Okay, this time I told you the horizontal FDA this original FDA is at the parallel line, the same company, like competitor, okay? Competitor, okay? And again, we will conglomerate FDA. Go conglomerate FDA. This conglomerate FDI is the mode of combined vertical and plus horizontal. There's two FDA combined. So we call this one conglomerate FDA. This type of FDA is none other than to invest different industry, to invest different industry. Different industry. Okay? Not similar or backward or forward. This is to invest different industry. Okay? Different industry. So we call this purpose of investment is called conglomerate. Then why? Why? Then why? Okay? Okay, this is because okay, the reason why is that first when current business is not stable. Current business is not stable. Okay, then they want to change their items. Okay, so they need a new portfolio with the existing capital because they need to survive with different items. In this case, they invest diverse. Okay, they invest diversity. in diversity. Okay, in diversity meaning that they invest quite different unrelated industry. Okay, in this case, because the current business is not stable. Okay, and sometimes in the process of internalization. Okay, internalization. In case of internalization, okay, uh, I told you the meaning of internalizations. Okay, internalization is because of, I told you, the unstable supply of the band. Okay, the banders, unstable, supply, un, okay, uh, supply cause internalization. Okay, okay, this means that from backward FDI, the manufacturing will be provide, parts from external organization, from different band, right? Then sometimes band among band, they conglomerate and increase price. Then in this case, your supply chain will be unstable, okay? Because the fluctuations of pricing like that, fluctuation, okay, occur in this case, right? Then the firm want to supply chain stable. In this case, they establish new band as their subsidiary, okay, to include them into organization, in their organization, okay, not outside organization, okay. So they want to include outside supply chain into organizations. This process we say internalization. Okay, so once internalizations implemented, the the POM included in the into organization sometimes very different type of business. Okay, so in this case, okay, conglomerate FDI occurring. Okay, conglomerate FDI occurring. Okay, so this is the reasons why. Okay, why? Okay, as I told you, once the current business is getting worse, the business is slow, or sometimes the business is very, deteriorated, sometimes deteriorated. Okay, then company should prepare turning business. Okay, like that, to find new business, they expand their investor. okay, to diversity of the business. So they are arranging portfolio of their business items. In this case, conglomerate FDI occurs. Okay, conglomerate FDI occurs. Number one reasons the current business is not stable or go bad. Okay. Second reason is in the middle of process of internalizations. Internalizations is meaning that to include outside company into organizations because to reduce the instability of supply chain. If the band is out of organizations, the price and supply will be unstable because they can fluctuate the price. Okay, they can fluctuate the price. They can mark it up the price. Okay, they will conglomerate for the pricings. Okay, in this case, their supply chain will be unstable. To prevent this kind of conglomerations, company want to outperform into their organizations. This means internalizations. Okay, this means internalizations. Okay, in this stage, conglomerate FDI can occur. Okay, can occur. Okay, anyway, conglomerate FDI is to invest different type of business. Okay, different type of business, not similar business. It's to invest different type of business. Okay, so the example of conglomerate FDI cases, Unilever. The Unilever, the company Unilever is a good example. Okay, this firm invests fish farming, okay, fish farming in Chile and Scotland. Chile and Scotland. Okay, fish farming, but quite different the textile business. Textile business in India. Okay, this is not related, unrelated business between this. In this, the textile is clothing and clothing manufacturing, right? Clothing manufacturing industry, the textile in India, right? Thailand and Colombia, palm oil, palms. Okay, palm oil farming. Well, oil farming in Thailand, Colombia. This is quite different type of, right? Not unrelated to former items. Africa, coffee. Africa, coffee. Okay, this is not related, unrelated, right? Okay, so this type of portfolio, the items, okay, the portfolio is very diversified, right? Portfolio, okay. The portfolio is quite diverse. It's quite diverse. The portfolio is quite diverse. Okay, quite diverse. So as you can see, this type of FDI to invest quite different industry is called conglomerate FDI. Okay, it's conglomerate FDI. So this is example of conglomerate FDI. So we divided FDI as a investment firm, right? We have a vertical FDI, we have a horizontal FDI, and we have a conglomerate FDI. Okay, so also at the same time we have a review the example of each type of FDI. Okay. Okay, then this time we can divide, foundation type. Okay, foundation type. We can divide by foundation type of FDI. I'll show you that. Okay, foundation type. Foundation type. Okay, if we divide by foundation type, we can classify into two species. Okay, green period. Number one is green period, FDA, and another type is M&A, merger and acquisition. Okay, this is different type, so I need the explanations for each of these, right? The green period is to invest from purchasing real estate to market exploring. Okay. Contrary, M&A is merger and acquisition to existing company. existing form, merger and acquisition existing form. We have advantage and disadvantage of each type. Okay, so we need to study this one, the greenfield and M&A. Okay, we have advantage and disadvantage of each type. Okay, so we can see the advantage and disadvantage.